Hello, and welcome to The Modern Lady, where you'll learn how to elevate your life with elegance. I'm Devereaux. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe so that you can get an update when I've got a new video to share. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you, ladies, so much for your continued love and support for my channel. I appreciate and adore you all. Today's video is an interview in a series called Pearls of Wisdom, where I shine a spotlight on elegant women that believe in the power of style and sophistication. Today's interview guest is Erin Kurt from The Elegant Life. She's a spiritual coach and a spiritual teacher, a chic spiritual teacher, and she's absolutely amazing. Erin, welcome to The Modern Lady.
Thank you so much. I'm really going to enjoy this.
I'm so excited for us to hear your story and really get your perspective on living a life with elegance. So, Erin, can you share with us what is the story behind how the elegant life got started and everything that it is today?
Wow. Well, I'll give you the short version because it's definitely a long version. but but the short version is that throughout my life, I have gone through a tremendous amount, and now I call them growth opportunities. But yeah, I have had different kinds of abuse happen to me in my life, and just so many things. It used to be where my life would be like this. I was either on a real high, but that only lasted not long, and then I would go down. And if I show anybody my diaries, every single day would be like, well, you would never believe what happened today. And that was I mean, I've been keeping a diary since I have one since I was 8 years old. So I can look back throughout them. It's really a nice journey. But gee, did I go through a lot. And it was always angst. And then lots and lots happened. And I really got to a point where I had had multiple miscarriages. And I already had my son. And it just started really weighing down on me because I was running a business at that time and trying to be the mom. I was living in a different country. We were going through the worst home renovation scandal ever that some people took advantage of us. So it was just like, again, the drama, right? And after these miscarriages, I ended up getting pregnant, which was glorious, but it was a very scary pregnancy because I didn't know it was going to happen again. So I didn't enjoy it like my other one as much. And that birth, although I thought I had really prepared for it, I wanted to have a beautiful spiritual birth because I've always been very spiritual. It literally was like a medieval experience. And that experience was something that like cut the cord between any feeling of support from the universe, God, whatever label you want to give it. Because I felt so betrayed and so let down because I had done everything. I'd done like hypnobirthing for 6 months, and twice a day I was doing when you think you're doing everything. And after that, I went into a very severe depression and still, have these two young kids and running the business and all this kind of stuff, but feeling depressed. My marriage started going downhill. I had gained so much more weight than I'm not a very tall person. So I had like 50 extra pounds on me, which is big for me, at that small size. I just didn't feel like me. I wanted to get away from my life. And there was a couple of times when I even called what you would call the emergency hotline because you're thinking of things. I mean, that's how bad it got. And so a friend of mine had said, Erin, I think you could really go to this 6-day spiritual retreat. And so because my husband and I were at the brink, we said, okay, let's go. Let's have our own personal experiences there. And if we come back and we're supposed to be together, then we'll be together. If not, at least we'll be maybe healed. I don't know. So I went there. And on one particular day, when I was feeling extremely low, I had this clearing, because we were doing a lot of clearing work. And one day it was about the abuse that I had had from my grandfather. And it was just like something massive got cleared from me. And then, the nice music was playing and we were just kind of relaxing. And something happened that I don't know how to really explain it, but it was like I had a near death experience without having to die. I became one. I came back home. I went back home, but I could just hear in the background myself saying, wow, like this, but I wasn't there. It was a really profound experience. And when I kind of came back sort of into the room, into my body, I kind of looked around. Did everybody have that? Like, what just happened? And I know it's a long story, but when I came back, nothing was the same. I saw the world differently. I felt different. Everything that I worried about was not a worry anymore. The issues I had weren't there anymore. And I started to live my life from this, and I started to notice that it was flowing better, that I was happier, that my marriage was totally back on track and better than before. My business started thriving, but yet I didn't have to push. I didn't have to work as hard. What was happening? And things kept going, and my abilities and things started coming to me that I was able to do. And something came to me, you need to share these things. You need to share these things. And I resisted it for a while. And then I thought, so how would I share this? What is unique about me? And how could I share this? And I always loved video, and I love to share things kind of more regularly. I thought, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to start a blog. What would I call it? And I'm like, well, everybody says, and I've always loved the word elegant forever. Everybody says that your life kind of just flows with elegance. I think I'm going to call it the elegant life. And that's where it started. And now it's grown into this, international coaching and YouTube channel, and yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous business where I'm supporting women who are going through similar things that I went through.
I love that. And I think that journey, thank you for sharing, Erin, is something similar to how we all find our sense of elegance because life happens and it's not always easy. And usually we have this desire for more at some point in our lives. We want that peace, we want that femininity, we want things to just flow, and if we don't have that, we're trying to figure out how to achieve it. And so I love that you talked about going to that retreat, and really being able to unlock the keys to that elegant life for yourself. So that's an absolutely amazing journey. And I'm so delighted that it inspired you to really reach out and help other women as well. It's not just you going through that experience for only you and your family to benefit, but the fact that you're opening up and being able to help other women is just so extremely powerful.
Oh, thank you. It is literally the biggest joy of my life now. It doesn't even feel like work. I hop out of bed every day because it just does not feel like work. It is the joy of my life. you know?
Yes, and you are bringing so much joy to other women as well. I love that. So, Erin, can you share a little bit about the importance of self love in an elegant life? How does that work and why is it important?
Great question, because you know what? Self-love is everything. Everything. What happens when you have self-love is that you are able, well, I always equate self-love with self-knowing. And self-knowing on two scales, because at the elegant life where I teach, I'm always blending the physical life, because we are living a human experience, but we are a soul, right? And so you need to know. I mean, when I had that experience, there was no doubt about where I come from, and it's not like I'm separate now. The way I describe it is, if we view God, the universe, as the sun, we are all rays from that sun. So we're not separate. Right now, me sitting here, I'm part of it. I am it, okay? But I was created specifically with certain talents and natural abilities and all this, and that's the human part. So once I have this, I have some inner peace because I know that if I'm connected to that all, that oneness, well, I can do anything. I can be anything, I can have anything, everything is possible. Okay, so there I am. That's a knowing, and you have to have that because my struggle and pain came from me feeling separateness. The other part of knowing this comes from you knowing, and this is something that you're so good on your channel with, is helping people find their own style. You know, what is your personal unique style? The way you're supposed to, and you've been programmed to do this, to really show yourself and move through the world, right? So when you have not just your personal style, but you know all these personality characteristics about yourself, you know your natural talents, your gifts, you don't take them for granted. You actually have reverence and say, okay, I'm going to use these. All of your interests, you know, I have had since I was in 8 years old, grew up in Canada. We had to learn French. I fell in love with France, became a French teacher, went and lived in France, you know, and I still have the Francophone culture in everything that I do. That's part of me. And so when you have that, I stop comparing myself to anybody, you know? I can see you doing your thing and hold you up and go girl, use it. Whereas before, when I felt separate and I didn't own my gifts and I didn't have self love, I always felt a bit not good enough. Then I wasn't resilient. When things would happen to me, that's when I got this. But now, if something happens, I go, whoop, you know, I'm able to say, well, that wasn't for me. So I'm going to go here and wait for the next guidance. Do you know what? So it gives you resilience. It stops the comparison. It just stops the competition. And you are so empowered to go out and use your gifts. And that's when I say I use my gifts all the time and I'm not working a day in my life. That's what it feels like. So it's everything.
It is so crucial. Self love is definitely a foundational element in an elegant lifestyle. And I love that you said self love is self knowing. You have to spend that time doing the inner work to really get to know who you are. And I think what's so incredibly powerful is that at any point in our lives, we are meant to evolve. It's not a final destination. And so as women, we have that opportunity to create who we want to be if there's a disconnect between who we currently are and who we want to be. That's so incredibly powerful.
It's totally, and like, you know, like I said, I could show you the long version of my story, but we are innately, if you think of God, the divine, an aspect is that it's always ever expanding. It's ever expanding. I mean, if NASA actually can test and mark that the universe is even growing every year still, right? It is a natural aspect, and because we're not separate from it, we're part of it. We'll get to a certain point and you're like, you know, I used to feel, this used to be the old me, I should be happy now, you know, I should be. And yes, now I have peace and gratitude for everything with the beautiful curious expectation of what's next or what wants to come forth from me next. Do you know what I mean? So that growth, that expansion is exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, absolutely. And we always can find those resources to grow because it's really important that we don't try to just go on this journey alone. It's important to have that support and have that guidance. And you were so candid in sharing about going to that retreat, and that was the guidance that you needed. And so everyone definitely needs a source of inspiration and encouragement to help get them to that next level.
Totally, totally. I mean, I say that, you know, okay, my journey was my journey and I accept it. But wow, if I would have known what I know now, or if I would have heard the concepts that I teach about now, I could have saved myself a lot of time, a lot of angst, a lot of, this and that. I could have had even more joy in my life. So I say that's a thing with women, right? We always think we should be able to, I should be able to figure this out. I should be able to get this right. I should be, how hard can it be? That's maybe you're embarrassed to ask for help. Oh, ladies, just do it. Save your time and just go use the gifts that you were given and just go out there to serve and enjoy life to the fullest. Just do
Yeah,
it.
I love that. I think that is so true. We try to take on everything and just be so self sufficient. But God created us here on this planet together for a reason so that we can serve each other. And so I think
Oh,
that's really important that we don't have the pride or the ego that would get in the way of reaching out and asking or seeking for help when you need it.
exactly.
So,
Great
Erin,
point.
can you talk about self love and how that relates to inner peace?
Mm. Well, absolutely. It's sort of what I was talking about before. When you have this self love, self knowing, it really gives you a sense of calm because you are not always looking for you to become something that you're not. I think a lot of women look to people and they kind of judge themselves against other people. But when you have this self-love, this self-knowingness, you don't focus on other people. You focus on your own lane and you just use again what you've been given. So it's an inner calm. I used to feel that there was competition. I used to feel like maybe I'm not good enough or she's better than me or all this kind of stuff. The inner peace comes with a knowingness that, look, I was created this way. And so all my job is to every day express me and be me even more. That's it. And I think that gives you inner peace. But that takes, like you said, it takes spending time cultivating that. Like, for example, I could label myself a little bit. I call myself an ambivert, not an introvert, but an ambivert. Um, and I used to feel really ashamed that I kind of wanted to stay home most of the time because my husband is completely the opposite. He's an extrovert. So he gets his energy by going out. So I would kind of shame myself at the beginning of our relationship marriage. But look, how would the difference be if I had self-knowing? Actually, you are what is called an ambivert, and you actually get energy from, yes, going out, but you have enough, and then you need to come home to recharge, and then you can recharge and be all by yourself again, and then you can go out and serve. Oh, and other people are like that too. Oh, well, that's naturally me. So, wow, okay, I'm going to honor that. So this is the peace that comes with just knowing who you are, and I say what you are as this soul, and then there's no looking around, comparing, wondering, thinking. It's just
That's all you need. That's all you need is to really get to know the beautiful woman in the mirror and the beautiful soul that you have. And just being connected to that gives you a sense of calm and peacefulness because you're not trying to be anything that you're not. You're just enjoying being in that moment and really maintaining that femininity. So, Erin, I know on your blog you talk about slowing down to enjoy peace. And there are so many of us out there that are juggling children and husbands and taking care of a house and careers and also trying to enjoy a social life. And so life gets really hectic. What is one tip that you can share with us that will help to really slow us down?
I would say that the biggest thing that I learned a long time ago. I started out as a school teacher. So what was happening to me is I was always stressed out, burnt out, tired, exhausted, and I sort of came up with something that I thought I've got to be much more conscious about how I'm living my life, because we all have a certain amount of energy units. And if we're only using those energy units on a few areas, then the other areas that give us joy are not going to be there, you know? So I would say really have a strategy where you live your life consciously. Write down, this would really help. Write down what things give me energy, what things deplete me of energy. And then make it your goal to start adding more of these things that give you energy and start taking away or giving them to somebody else. That's what I had to do, ask for support again. Can you get a cleaner in? Maybe not every week, but can you get in once a month to do a big clean? Do you know what I mean? Can you, if you know you get energy from going out with your girlfriends, can you I used to do this when I had really young kids. The last Thursday or Friday of every month was girl night. So I knew that I had that. And just there's so many different ways, but I think consciously creating your life like it's an exquisite piece of art. No one else is going to do it for you. Nobody, not your husband, not your kids, nobody. You have to do it.
Yes. And I talk about that all the time. I agree with you 100%. There's so much power in intention. When we are intentional, we're not just taking things as they come. We are being proactive and really cultivating and creating that elegant lifestyle. And that does give you peace. That does give you a sense of calmness because you're in control rather than relying or waiting on things to just fall into place because we know they rarely do. So I think that is so important to be very conscious in how you're creating that lifestyle.
Totally. If I could share one little, it's kind of oh, an analogy, I guess, if you will, that really has helped some of my clients. I said, right now, it's like you're sitting in the back seat of a car, and that car is driving you everywhere and nowhere, and you're just kind of ending up in different places. But what would happen if you got in that driving seat? You would know exactly where you wanted to go, what would give you energy, what would make you feel great and happy, and you're driving the car. You're not sitting in the back seat anymore. So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yes, I love that, Erin. You ladies, we have to drive our own cars. We cannot sit in the back seat because remember, it's your car, it's your life. So you have to really be very careful and conscious in making those decisions about how you are living and how you're spending your time so that the life that you live completely serves you. And I think that's what's really the biggest difference between living elegantly and not living with elegance is that everything serves you and you're really able to have this sense of peace and joy throughout every day of your life. So, Erin, I know you talked a little bit about your life being like a piece of art and living exquisitely and really being able to cherish that. So, can you share with us what is one book you've recently read that has helped you to live exquisitely?
Hmm. Trying to think. Recently, um, gosh, I don't think there's been a recent one, but one I can really suggest that is one I think does a really good job is the same lady that wrote the book The Secret. That one was focused a little bit too much on just let me get things, let me, and nothing wrong with things because one of my fortes is being able to manifest. But that was a little bit too focused on if I get this, then I'm going to be happy. The second book she wrote, I think it was a second book, was called The Power. And this power talks more about the energy that I'm talking about. and how to really use it in your life. So there was very practical ways in there. So I think if I had to say, that was a book that I would recommend to people. But as for influencing me, I'm just trying to think. I mean, I adore any novel that happens in France. So I'm a true Francophile at heart. So one book that was just fabulous, if you want a recommendation for just a real fun book, is what was it called? Seven Letters from Paris. That is such an enjoyable read. And if you have any Francophiles out there, which I kind of think you may, um, it is a beautiful love story, true story, actually. It's her memoir. So enjoy that because it really teaches you how to live consciously, because her life was going downhill and she made a conscious choice to do something. And then her life just opened up. So that just came to me to share. So hopefully that will serve somebody.
Thank you, Erin. Yes, so The Power and Seven Letters from Paris. And I know there are so many women watching this that absolutely adore French culture. And so I'm sure they're going to enjoy checking out that book. Thank you. I think it's really interesting. At some point in most of our lives, we do have that turning point moment that you mentioned at the beginning of the interview, Erin, where things were just, you were down and out, you were ready to just hit the reset button, and you were all in on trying to figure out how to get out of that feeling of despair and darkness. And so I think for anyone watching this, be encouraged if you are now going through that time in your life, because there is an alternative. There is a way for you to find that peace and create that energy and that joy. And everything that Erin has shared today, it really gives you, hopefully, a sense of inspiration that it's the answers are within you. It's not anyone else in your life, but what Erin has shared is that you have the key essentially to unlocking an elegant life for yourself.
Yes, totally. And to remember that sometimes you need help using that key, finding that key, and that's when you need to seek out support. So, yeah, but the life that waits on the other side, I always say, whenever I have a client that's going through a breakdown, I can tell them there is a rainbow on the other side, like you can't even imagine. So let's work through this. And then they always have the rainbow. So you gotta get through a little bit of stuff before the rainbow. And that's how a diamond is formed, isn't it? Or a pearl. You said these are pearls of wisdom. How is a pearl formed? It has these little grits of things coming in all the time, and then it just puts this little luster around it, and then boom, 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 you've got a beautiful pearl. So it's a little journey sometimes, but when you get support, you just move through with ease and elegance.
Yes, yes. The support will give you that ease and elegance because there is always sunshine after the storm, after the rain. So I love that. Well, Erin, can you share with us who is your favorite elegant role model and why?
Ooh, the first person that comes to my mind is Amal Clooney. Um, she just has, so for so many reasons, she has a total sense of her own style. I think I heard George Clooney say that she actually does not have a personal stylist. She styles herself. She knows herself so well. So I love that aspect of it. I love that she's also a mother. I'm a mother. But I also love that she's using her talents to serve in something that she is passionate about. And I just love it. I think she's kind of got this knowingness of herself, knowingness and what her purpose is, and knowing how to live life with joy. And they have chosen to live. It's very funny that I choose her. Actually, I'm thinking of it. I lived in Windsor, England. Still have a home there, and their home is so close to where my home still is, and they chose consciously to live there, not in the limelight. They consciously are choosing to raise their kids out there. So that's another way. It's just conscious living on every aspect. So there you go.
Yes, I love Amal Clooney, and I've actually spoken about her on the channel last year. She is absolutely effortlessly elegant and just so chic and so talented. And so she's definitely an elegant role model of mine as well. Well, Erin, last question for you in this interview. Can you share with us one piece of timeless advice, or as I like to call it, one pearl of wisdom that you live by every single day?
Oh, that's cute. I love that. Oh, yes. To keep along this theme of living consciously, I would say that where you're going to find peace and happiness and joy is home. And the way you do that is you intentionally choose every single morning to have some kind of a ritual or practice that brings you back home here. And you stay in that silence, you reside in it, you expand that energy. I always say to the women, just do it until you feel like it is seeping outside of your pores so that you're walking around with this golden light. And and then you go throughout your day with that energy, that intention. You're going to have an elegant day that way, you know? And or if something happens, you're going to be able to manage it with a different energy, not a reactive energy, just with flow. So have the inner peace home ritual every morning to set your foundation.
Yes, and Erin, there is so much power in the morning routine. So I love that you mentioned that because that really does set the tone. It sets the foundation for the day ahead based on what you're doing in that morning time. It's so incredibly important. So, ladies, you've heard it from Erin. You have to go home to find that peace. Well, Erin, thank you so much for being on The Modern Lady and for allowing me to interview today. It was such a pleasure.
Wow, this was so nice. I love everything that you're about and that you're doing using your own talents and I just love there's such synchronicities with the elegance and this. So thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It was truly a delight. Well, Erin, can you share with us where are the best places for ladies to find you online?
Yes, well, I would say the best place is theelegantlife.com. I also have a YouTube channel called The Elegant Life, but I think the main source is there and Instagram. But if I could say, you know, if some of these teachings resonated with you, I have just a free group that is my gift to women who resonate with the message and resonate with that kind of desired life. It's called the Elegant Society, and they'll find all about that on the Elegant Life webpage. So that's probably the best way.
I love that, Erin. And great minds definitely think alike here because I also have a group called the Modern Lady Society.
Are you serious?
I'm just sitting here laughing because you're saying the name, and I'm like, that sounds familiar.
Oh, bless
We
you.
are
That's
definitely like
gorgeous.
soul sisters here. I love this.
Exactly. That's beautiful.
Erin is absolutely amazing, and you should definitely check out her website, her YouTube channel, her society. All of her links are in the description below so that you can follow and subscribe to Erin and all of the beautiful, amazing inspiration that she shares with the world. Ladies, I'd love to hear from you. Share in a comment below what is one thing that you can do to start slowing down in your life and finding that inner peace. I would love to know, so we will keep that conversation going in the comment section below. Ladies, as always, thank you so much for tuning into the channel. I hope that you did enjoy this interview. If you liked it, if it added value to your life, please give it a thumbs up to share some YouTube love. I would appreciate that. And I look forward to seeing you again in another video. Bye for now.